Welcome to Cheese Kitchen.
Today we're going to make one of my all-time favorite recipes. It's kind of a comfort food that my family has made for decades that I learned from my mom. I've eaten this since I was a child and my children love it. And actually my students love it too. They've asked for this recipe, so I thought, why don't I make a video making this? And this is a recipe I learned right out of graduate school when I was living back in Minnesota. Just graduate from graduate school from the U of M, as you can see. And this is gonna be a really easy comfort food for you to make. So let's get started. So what kind of ingredients do we need? First, you're going to need some glutinous rice. So I've got some here. Sometimes the package doesn't really say glutinous rice, but it actually says sweet rice. It's not really sweet like sugar, dessert sweet. It's just another way of calling glutinous rice. And I usually get long grain, and you can get any brand you want. It's long grain, so it kind of looks like this. Then what you need is some shiitake mushrooms. They come in packages like this, dried. And you only need a few shiitake mushrooms. As you can see here, they look like this. Next, you will need yellow onion and soy sauce. I like this brand soy sauce, but you're welcome to use any brand. I use the Maggi seasoning. Then you will also need some oyster sauce. I use this brand oyster sauce. And of course, we need the basics: salt, some black pepper, and of course, some oil. And of course, some chicken. I like to use chicken thighs, but if you like chicken breast works just as well. The reason I like chicken thighs is it's a little bit moister. It's a little bit more moist, and it soaks in the seasoning very well. So first, we have some overnight preparation to do before we can start cooking. One of the things you want to do is soak your rice overnight, but before we soak it, make sure you want to rinse it in water several times until the water comes out clear, and then just let it sit overnight. At minimum 4 to 5 hours if you don't want to do it overnight. Same thing with your shiitake mushrooms. You want to soak these in water as well, and so that they soften, and I do this overnight as well. I'll show you what it looks like when it's soaked in water. So when it's softened, what you'll see is it has this kind of soft, squishy consistency. As you can see, it's bendable. You want to squeeze out all the excess water first before you work with it. But that's what you need to do to prepare overnight for this dish. Now let's talk about equipment. What you will need is just a simple skillet like this. We will be using this to cook the chicken, the chicken, the mushrooms, and the onions with, okay? But most importantly, the equipment you need is a steamer. This is my steamer. This is what I use to steam rice, mainly sticky rice. But sticky rice cannot be cooked in a rice cooker. It'll turn to mush like pudding. It doesn't work. So you kind of need a steamer. This is a steamer that I got from an Asian market, very inexpensive. It comes in 3 tiers. The first tier is basically the basin that holds the water. And it gives you 2 tiers to store the food that you're going to be steaming in. if you notice here, this one has much smaller holes. This one has larger holes. You do not want this one, because this one your rice grain will fall right through. So you want the smaller ones that will be able to hold the rice and not slip through. Okay, let's start making our rice. Here's our steamer. Remove the lid. What you'll need to do is fill this basin with water, probably about half level. And then I'm going to spray this tier with cooking spray so that when the rice cooks and it's done, it won't stick to your pan. It'll be an easier, cleaner job. As you can see, I've got water in the basin. Here, I'll take so you can see a little bit. You can tell I've got a little oil spray in the tier. Now I'm going to dump rice into it. As you can see, the water is boiling. This is how we know we're ready to put the rice in. So here's my tier that I just put the rice that I've been soaking overnight. It looks like that. And all you do is you just plop it on top of the water basin, close the lid, and let it cook. Okay, so while the rice is cooking, we are going to make our ingredients. So first I'm going to slice this onion into thin slices. First we got to skin it, remove this beautiful gold skin away. We don't want to eat that. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to slice it into strips. First I cut it in half, and then I'm going to just slice it out like this around the semicircle. So this is how it works. You see how the strips are coming? Here we go. And let's do the other half. How thick or thin you slice these are really up to you. Okay? Now let's slice our shiitake mushrooms. So here they are. What I like to do is I want to cut out the stem first. See, a lot of these have these little nubby stems. We're going to cut them out. I like to eat them, so I'm going to save them. And if they're a little too big or too thick, then I slice them up a little bit smaller. So as you can see, these stems I just cut out. Now we're going to slice the mushroom caps into strips. You can see here. Let's slice up the rest. All right, our mushrooms are now sliced. Now let's slice up our chicken. Our chicken needs to be sliced into strips as well. So what I like to do is cut off the fat. I don't like fat on my chicken, but some people do because it gives it more of a softer, kind of more fatty texture. So what I do is this size is sufficient. So I don't need to cut that up. It's already the right size. Just going to give you a sense of the size of these strips. This is about the right size. Now let's start making our chicken while our rice is cooking. So you want to heat this skillet on medium heat and pour in a little bit of oil. And what you'll do next is just wait for the oil to heat up. It'll start sizzling a little bit. That's when you'll know it's time to add in the onions. I think our oil is ready for us to add in the onions. How you know it's ready is when you drop in the onions, as you see that it's sizzling. So the oil is definitely ready. And I'm just gonna stir fry it. You can use a spatula or chopsticks or a wooden spoon, whatever works for you. Just kind of stir fry, push the onions around so that they cook nice and evenly. What you want to look for is when the onions start to look a little translucent, like a little bit clear, that's when I would add the chicken. But you don't want to wait when it gets softened, that would be overcooked. So it's still got a little spring, hardness, crispiness to it. Let's add the chicken. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to season it with salt. Then I'm just going to stir fry it up a little bit more. I actually like to stir fry with 2 hands, that way there's more stability. I like to use a wooden spatula, but you can use any kind of spatula. As you can see, the meat is still raw. You don't want it to become cooked yet. I want the seasoning to soak into the meat, and it soaks in better when the chicken is still raw. Next, I'm going to add oyster sauce. And then you stir fry some more to get it to mix in more evenly. As you can see, the chicken is starting to darken with the color of the oyster sauce. It's still raw. I'm going to let it cook for a little bit longer. Then what I'm going to add in is some soy sauce. Then mix it up a little bit so that it distributes evenly. And this is the part where we actually let the chicken sit and cook. Right now, the skillet is pretty dry, as you can see. There's not a lot of juice released yet from the chicken. When the chicken starts to get cooked thoroughly through, it'll start to release chicken juice, and that's the yummy part. It'll blend in with the oyster sauce and soy sauce very well, and that's the juice we're going to need to pour over our rice with. So let's let it sit and cook for a while. As you can see here, the juice from the chicken is starting to bubble. As I can tell, that means the chicken is starting to get a little bit more cooked. Still raw, but I like to flip it and stir fry around to get evenly. This is probably the time where I start to add the shiitake mushroom. Because I don't want the juice to all reduce and disappear, because I want it to soak into the shiitake mushroom as well. So let's add that. So keep stir frying. This is the longest part of the recipe. We just keep continuously stir frying. Push the chicken and the mushroom around so that the seasoning gets blended in well. Okay, I'm gonna stop for a while and just let the chicken and the shiitake mushroom cook. I think our chicken is just about done, as you can see here. The chicken is stiff, it's no longer floppy, and you can see there's no more pink around the chicken. And don't worry if you missed a piece where a piece might have still got a little bit of pink, because this chicken is not being done cooking yet. It's going to cook some more with the rice later. Now I'm going to turn off the heat. We are done with the chicken. So the rice has been cooking for 20 minutes. Let's take a look. So what you want to do first is just mix up the rice like so. And then what we're going to do is add the chicken mixture so that it can cook some more with the rice. So all of the seasoning and the mushroom will cook some more with the rice, and it will blend in with the rice. So you can see that I'm just spreading the chicken and mushroom on top of the rice. Then at this point, I'm going to mix it up so that all of that sauce that the chicken meat released when we were cooking it gets blended in with the rice, make it very flavorful. Okay, so that's looking really good. We just need to let it cook for another 15 minutes. So I'm going to cover this up. Check back later in 15 minutes. All right, our 15 minutes is up. Let's see what the rice looks like. Look at that, gorgeous. So we're going to put it in our serving plate. So I'll show you the texture of the rice, of what it should look like. That's what sticky rice looks like. Glutinous rice looks like when it's cooked. Also, I want to make a comment. Glutinous rice does not mean it has gluten. This is not the kind of gluten that comes from wheat that many people are allergic to. This gluten rice means the gluten chemical is not the right word, but the gluten nature that this grain comes in, it makes it sticky. It makes the rice grain bind together when they cook. It does not mean it has gluten. So people who need to eat gluten-free, this is it, okay? This is safe for you gluten-free folks to eat. So here is what our chicken sticky rice looks like. This is where we sprinkle in a little bit of black pepper. This is to give it a nice little kick. Voila. Now, this is a lot. This portion is a lot. Serves for family of 4 to 6. So when you have leftover, this stores very well. What you want to do is, put it in your container, refrigerate it, and when you're ready to eat, all you do is take out the portion you need in a bowl, microwavable, safe bowl, and just microwave it for a few seconds or a few minutes, and then it's just good as new. Bon appetit, enjoy.